So today we are going to start revision on rational and irrational numbers. Revision on rational and irrational numbers. So what are rational numbers? We're going to recall the concept. What are rational numbers? First of all, these are integers having positive, negative as well as zero. These are fractional numbers and these are decimal numbers. All together form rational numbers. All together forms rational numbers. So what are rational numbers? The numbers which are in the form of p by q and q should not be equal to 0 are known as rational numbers. Clear? Now, rational numbers classification starting with integers. Integers are further classified into whole numbers and negative numbers. Whole numbers are further classified into 0 and natural numbers. Clear? Rational numbers, non-integer that are non-terminating, repeating and terminating one. So what are the classification of rational numbers? Rational numbers के दो classifications, repeating, non-terminating repeating. इसको ऐसा बोल सकते हैं हम लोग. Rational numbers can be classified as terminating and non-terminating repeating. Non-terminating repeating. They are further classified into terminating and non-terminating repeating. So once again, rational numbers, integers classified into whole numbers and negative integers. Whole numbers further classified into 0 and natural numbers. And then non-integers are such as decimal numbers are non-terminating decimals and terminating decimals. Now, what do you mean by terminating decimals and non-terminating decimals? Non, so first of all, terminating means after decimal they are going to be end. That is known as terminating one. ठीक है, डेसिमल के बाद वो लोग खत्म हो जाते हैं. That is known as terminating. Non terminating continuation में चलेंगे. ठीक है, they will go on continuation after the decimal. These are known as non terminating decimal. Clear? क्या होगा ये 0.0434343 and so on. They are non terminating and this is terminating. So rational numbers are in the form of p by q, where q should not be equal to 0. Now, what is the condition for a rational number to be terminating one and non-terminating one? When q must be in the form of 2 to the power n, 5 to the power n. यदि q किसके फॉर्म में होगा 2 to the power n और 5 to the power m, it will have a terminating decimal expansion. इसके अलावा कुछ भी होगा, it is non-terminating. So let us see by an example. 1 upon 5. Denominator is in the form of 5 to the power n. It is terminating one. 1 upon 6, it can be written as 2 into 3. यहाँ पे 2 और 5 के अलावा 3 है. We have 3 here. So it is non-terminating. Clear? So what is the condition for terminating? The denominator must be in the form of 2 to the power n, 5 to the power m. Now, without actually performing long division, can you state whether this is terminating one or non-terminating one? Yes, we can check by simply checking the prime factorization of decimal. See, it has 7 and 11 other than 2 to the power n, 5 to the power m. So it is non-terminating one. कैसा होगा ये? Non-terminating one. ठीक है? It is non-terminating one. Clear? So it is non-terminating decimal expansion. Okay, Vikas? चलो. The decimal expansion will terminate after how many places? After how many places it will going to terminate? So क्या करेंगे यहाँ पे? It is 2 to the power 3, 5 to the power 5. So what we're going to do? We're going to multiply 2 to the power 2 in numerator as well as 2 to the power 2 in denominator. So it will become 23 into 2 square upon 2 to the power 5, 5 to the power 5. So it will terminate after 5 places. ठीक है? On multiplying, it will terminate after how many places? 5 places. It will become 82. ठीक है? It will terminate after how many places? देखो कैसे? 92 upon 10 to the power 5. ठीक है? So how many places? It will become like this: 00092. So after 5 decimal places, it will going to terminate. Clear? Clear, Vikas? Chal, after 5 places. How many decimal places will be the decimal expansion of this following? What you are going to multiply? Multiply with 2 to the power 3 in numerator as well as in denominator. So multiply with how much? Multiply with 2 in numerator and denominator. So after how many places? After 3 decimal places. After 3 decimal places. Clear? After 3 decimal places, it will going to end. Now, what is fundamental theorem of arithmetic? If p is a prime number, p divides a square, then p divides a. Let us see this by an example. 1764 is 42 square. So prime factorization of 42 is 237. If 2 divides 1764, then 2 divides 42. If 3 divides 1764, then it will divide 42. If 7 divides 1764, then it will going to divide 42. So 42 will divisible by 2347. Okay. Chalo. Now talking about irrational numbers. The numbers which are not in the form of p by q are known as irrational numbers. The first one is pi, root 2, root 3. These all are irrational numbers. So irrational numbers are non-terminating, non-repeating. Have you seen non-terminating? खत्म भी नहीं हो रहे हैं और repeat भी नहीं हो रहे हैं. Clear? So that cannot be written in the form of p by q. Prove that 2 root 2 is an irrational number by contradiction method. So first of all, let us assume 2 root 2 is rational. 2 root 2 equals to p by q, where a and b are co-prime and q should not be equal to 0. Third step, squaring on both sides. First of all, rearrange this. Rearrange कर दिया. Step number 4. अब इसको डायरेक्ट कर सकते हैं. Because we know that root 2 is irrational and this part is rational. So rational will not going to be equal to irrational. So a contradiction arises and what we have assumed is wrong. Therefore 2 root 2 is a rational number. No, it is an irrational number. हमने क्या assumption माना था starting that it is a rational number, but our assumption is wrong, therefore it is irrational number. ये तो direct हो गया. ठीक है? Clear? This is irrational and this is rational. चलो. Let us assume 2 minus 3 root 5 is rational, where 2 minus 3 root 5 equals to p by q, where p and q are co-prime and q should not be equal to 0. Rearrange किया. Root 5 equals to 2 by 3 minus p upon 3q. कैसे किया सर rearrange? थोड़ा करके बताओ. 2 minus 3 root 5 is equals to p by q. क्या किया? Root 5 को उधर भेजा, p को इधर आया, तो ये हो जाएगा p by q is equals to 3 root 5. 3 से डिवाइड कर दिया तो 3 यहाँ पे भी आ जाएगा, 3 यहाँ पे भी आ जाएगा. ठीक है. Now, again by the method of contradiction, we know that root 5 is irrational and this is rational. So rational will not going to be irrational. So our assumption that 2 minus 3 root 5 is a rational number is wrong. Therefore 2 minus 3 root 5 is an irrational number. Clear to each and everyone? Okay. Question number 3. Prove root 2 plus root 3 is an irrational number. Let us assume root 2 plus root 3 is rational. Root 2 plus root 3 equals to p by q, where p and q are co-prime and q should not be equal to 0. Root 3 is equals to p by q minus root 2. Transpose root to this side. क्या करेंगे now? Squaring both side. What it will going to come? 3 equals to p by q का whole square minus 2ab plus b square. Minus 2ab plus b square. So this will become p square by q square. It will become 2 root 2 p by q plus 2. यहाँ तक कोई डाउट है? नंबर वाला पार्ट एक तरफ, irrational वाला पार्ट एक तरफ. So this is irrational and what remains here? Rational part. So irrational will not be equal to rational number. Irrational will not be equal to rational number. So our assumption that root 2 plus root 3 is rational is wrong. Therefore root 2 plus root 3 is an irrational number. Clear? Okay. कोई डाउट है? चलो. Now operations on real numbers. The product of any two irrational numbers can be both rational or irrational. Let us see by an example. Root 3 into root 2, root 6, irrational. Root 2 into root 2 is 4. So product of any two irrational can be rational or irrational. The sum or difference of a rational and irrational is always irrational. एक rational और एक irrational का sum or difference always irrational होता है. The product and the quotient of rational and irrational is always irrational. एक rational और irrational का multiply करेंगे, we're going to get irrational. एक rational और irrational का divide करेंगे, we're always going to get irrational. Clear? ठीक है. Now the product or quotient of any two irrational number is always irrational. Just हमने अभी पढ़ा. Product or quotient of any two irrational. अब irrational का product भैया देखो, √5 into √5 5 होता है. 2 √5 मे बी रैशनल और इरेशनल बोथ बोथ होगा. ठीक है, डिवाइड करके देख लो. ऑफ एनी रूट इरेशनल 2 √3 अपॉन √5 इट मे बी रैशनल और इरेशनल बोथ. ठीक है, इट मे बी बोथ रैशनल एंड इरेशनल. देखो √2 इंटू √3 6, √2 इंटू √2 2. इट मे बी बोथ रैशनल और इरेशनल. Therefore, the product or quotient of any two irrational numbers can be both rational or irrational. The product of or quotient of rational and irrational is always irrational. Always irrational. 1 into √5. √5. 1 divided by √5. 1 upon √5. So it is always irrational. ठीक है, the product or quotient of any rational and irrational is always an irrational number. Summary: what we have studied till now. Real numbers is a combination of rational numbers and irrational numbers. Rational numbers are of two types: terminating, non-terminating, repeating. Irrational numbers: non-terminating, non-repeating. टर्मिनेटिंग डेसिमल एक्सपांशन कैसे होते हैं, जिसका डिनोमिनेटर 2 to the power m और 5 to the power m के फॉर्म में होता है. नॉन टर्मिनेटिंग रिपीटिंग comes under rational numbers. Non terminating, non repeating are irrational numbers. Clear?